Hello, my name is Kerry and I'm a member of the MrBruff.com writing team. Today I'm going to talk about how to use quotation marks. I'll be looking at how to quote, what happens if the quote is within a quote, and then look at other uses for the quotation marks. First of all, do we use single or double inverted commas? If you're from the UK, you'll probably use single quotation marks. Double quotation marks are more common in America. Let's look at how to quote. If your quote is very long, you can introduce it with a colon. For example, when Scrooge looks out of the window, he sees more ghosts. Every one of them wore chains like Marley's ghost. Some few, they might be guilty governments, were linked together, none were free. The full stop goes after the quotation mark at the end of the sentence. If the original quotation ends with a full stop, delete it. Your full stop is more important. When we talk about characters and events in a novel, we always talk in the present tense, even if the events happened in the past. Now, this is one way to quote, but it's a very long quote. So how can we improve this? You're more likely to get a higher mark if you take the words that you're going to analyse and drop them into your sentence. When Scrooge looks out of the window, he sees more ghosts who wore chains like Marley's ghost. This example is better, and in an exam, I'd then zoom in and analyse the key words from this quotation. One way to know that you've quoted correctly is to imagine deleting the quotation marks, and if your sentence makes good grammatical sense, you know that you've used the quotation marks correctly. An even better way to quote is to take single words or phrases and drop them into your sentence. This is called embedding. I wear the chain I forged in life, replied the ghost. The ghost wears the chain that it forged in life. The key words have been dropped into the new sentence. Chain, chain, forged in life, forged in life. It makes sense not to copy the word I because the ghost is speaking, and that's why the writers changed the word to it. Again, notice that the full stop is at the end of the sentence after the quotation mark, and if you were to delete the quotation marks, this sentence would make sense by itself. Let's look at another example, and then we'll look at a common mistake. Hard and sharp as flint, from which no steel had ever struck out generous fire. This changes to Dickens describes Scrooge by using the simile hard and sharp as flint. The quotation has been embedded into this sentence very well, and again, if we were to delete the quotation marks, it would make sense by itself. The square brackets show that I've changed the capital H here to a lowercase h here, because it's in the middle of my sentence. If you'd like to learn more about how to use square brackets, I've made a video and it's in my punctuation playlist. In an essay, I would then analyse hard and sharp as flint in detail. Now let's look at a common mistake. Never introduce a quote with the words the quote, because Dickens is not quoting himself. Instead, use terminology. We have simile up here, but if you don't know the terminology, it's fine. Say word, words, phrase, or sentence. So, we use quotation marks to quote, but what if the quote is within a quote? Let's read this example. The politician stated, "The NHS is, in the words of the Guardian newspaper, a priceless national asset." Here, the single quotation marks are around the quotation of the politician, and the double quotation marks show that we have the quotation of the newspaper within the politician's quote. There are 4 ways to use quotation marks. As we've seen, one of them is to quote the exact words from a text. Secondly, we use them around the exact titles of poems, books and plays. For example, Macbeth the play. This is really helpful because when we see those quotation marks, we know that it's Macbeth the play and not Macbeth the person, and we don't put quotation marks around people's names. Before we look at number 3, let's look at this image. After this word, we've got the letter N. After this word, we also have the letter N. The third use of the quotation marks is to define something. For example, in a dictionary, the letter N after a word stands for noun. Finally, we use quotation marks to show disagreement. Here you might be speaking sarcastically. My best friend let me down badly yesterday. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to buy a copy of Mr. Bruff's Guide to Grammar, I've put the link in the description below. In the meantime, please like, subscribe and share, and I'll see you in the next video.